Hello everybody, this is Michelle with Michelle's Whimsy and Bling. I am a independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I really enjoy making cards and I really enjoy sharing them with you so that you can make your own cards to send out to people. Today we're going to go ahead and focus on the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set and dies that go with it. And here are the dies. They are just gorgeous. Oh my word. I just really like this stamp set. And I have not had a lot of time to play with it, but I really did here. And we're also going to bring in, let's see, 3 different embossing folders. One of my favorites is Painted Texture. We're going to bring that one in. My newest one is Hive, is like a honeycomb beehive. And the next one reminds me very much of a man, but it does not have to be used only on masculine cards. It's called Timber. And I have done all the prep work, so we're just really going to focus on putting our cards together. The other thing that is unique about this particular card that we did, or these cards that I've done, is I have done like sponging with my blender brush here. I've taken ink and I've put that on the die cut, or excuse me, I put the ink on the stamp, then stamped it, then die cut it. And on this particular one, I went ahead and I used our watercolor pencils, and then I came back with our blender pens, and that is the effect that we get, which is, I think, really different than what you can get by either using the blending brushes or just ink like I've done here. So enough chit chat, let's go ahead and get started. So let's see, the first one, they're actually done in specific order. That's just how my brain works. The first one we're going to do is this one, and of course I had to change it up slightly. After I kept looking at this one, I was like, it just looks kind of plain, a little blah, flat, I think is the word I was probably going for. And then Amy, my friend, she suggested doing an embossing folder in the back. And I was like, oh, that's a really great idea. So went ahead and I embossed a piece of black with the Painted Textures embossing folder. Like I told you, I have all my pieces and parts. So here's the embossing folder. And then here is our sunflower. And you can see when you put the ink on the stamp with the blending brush, everything is going to always look different. They're not going to be exactly the same. I'm just showing you how we're going to lay this out. And we have these little leaves. We're going to put one up here and then one down here. But what we do need to do, which means we need to bring in our scrap paper, is we need to go ahead and bring in our blending brush so that we could blend our sentiment piece, because we don't want it to be stark white. Well, let's see, I don't remember what I blended it with, and I'm thinking this is going to be too bright. Well, maybe it won't be if I don't use a heavy hand. I have a habit, unfortunately, of using kind of a little heavy hand. All right, so I think that's good because I can put more on, but I cannot take it off. So let's go ahead. Let's see. What ink should I use? Maybe some Calypso Coral. You know what? I think we'll do that. Just kind of make it easy. Now, on this particular sentiment, I actually did the same thing as I did here, which was take the blender brush and apply the ink that way to the stamp. But in hindsight, I don't want to do it that way because it wasn't as dark as I had wanted it to be. But let's test this before we do it on our piece of paper. Okay, that's not bad. I kind of like that. All right. This is Calypso Coral that we're using for our sentiment. Okay, that looks pretty good. Pretty good. Clean our stamp. Finally went ahead and washed my chamois. Had a lot of ink coming out. And then close up our ink pads, because why? We are dangerous with an ink pad open. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'll just clean that off a little bit. Let's go ahead and work on getting this together. Now, the key is placement, because we actually, let me do this first because I will forget. Let me get this on my background or on my card base first. When you're using an embossing folder, you really need to use a good adhesive. It could either be the liquid Tombow glue, like I just used, or our Stamp and Seal Plus. All right, so there we go. Now, let's go ahead and do that, because we know we're going to have to overlap a little bit here. I want to make sure that I don't overlap my words. That's why I had to put that up there. And then we do that there. And then do I have enough room for, yes. Yay! It seems to all be working out. Actually, let's go ahead and move this over. No, I can't move it over anymore. All right. So, I think we're going to pop this one up. So let's go ahead and do that with our dimensionals. I don't know what it is, but man, dimensionals are just like the greatest in my book. And I'll be honest with you, when I was first introduced to Stampin' Up! Back in the, probably 2002 time frame, I don't know that we had dimensionals or used it. Although I have seen some of the cards that I made back then. They kind of make me cringe. For some reason, I could not cut a straight line, even with a cutter thing. I couldn't cut a straight line, could not at all. So yeah, I do not have many cards from back in those days, but yeah. And I don't even know now what my first card that I ever made was, but, and somehow I'm thinking that is probably a really good thing. Really, really good. All right, so now let's go ahead and use our liquid glue. Yeah, sometimes it just takes a little bit. And I'm trying not to squeeze too much because this is a new bottle. And we all know what happens with new bottles. They tend to come out quickly. And I don't want so much glue on there. Okay. Can you guys tell in the example that this is the sunflower is sparkly? We are going to add in some Winkostella. Oh, okay. I know it's, I probably should not have stuck that down yet, but sometimes the brain just doesn't want to work the way it should. And sometimes you need to use a pair of tweezers, because I don't have that exactly where I would like it. And now I don't know if I can get it up. Just wanted it down a little bit more so it could overlap on the sentiment. All right, so now we have done that. Now let's go ahead and use our red and green adhesive back pearls. The red is hiding. We are going to use gold. And let's see, we're going to put one there and one here. And how about one there? Okay, that's where we're going to use those. Now, we need to do the Wink of Stella. And if my Wink of Stella, I have lost my Wink of Stella so much lately, like crazy. Okay, we're just going to open up the new Wink of Stella because I don't know where the other one is. And we need to take this thing off, I think. Take that off. Shake it up. And throw the little black thing around. All right, squeeze a little bit. Oh, where is my other Wink of Stella? Can you see it? It's moving in there. It's getting there. I'm just really afraid that I'm gonna get a big old blob. Okay, we got it coming out now. And I did get a big old blob. So now I need to get some more on there so it doesn't look ridiculous. Okay. I don't know what there is about Wink of Stella, but I think a lot of times it just adds the right bling to a project. All right. So there is the card. This is the original card where it is literally just on a back card base, but here it is where it's still on a black card base, but it's on an embossed part. So I really do think the painted textures added a lot to it. So next up, let me find my examples, is this card. Very similar. Oh no, excuse me, this is not the next one up. I'm so crazy, y'all. So crazy. All right, this is the next one up. Very colorful, very springy. Okay, so using designer series paper, cut a piece, and then love the plaid, love the polka dots, love them together. And here we're just doing a little bit of whimsy. We've stamped, now my flower is different, but again, I used our blending brush to adhere the ink right there. And then we used a different color for this one. I'm just going to tuck it underneath there. I really like this little one, but I wish the leaves weren't part of it. The leaves just kind of like throw me off. I'm going to put that up there. And then we have these leaves to add, let's see, one down here, couple up there, and two down here. And this is also on dimensionals. So I think this time when we put it on dimensionals, we will not take the dimensional backs off and not make it stick until we have our leaves on there. All right, make sure your card is opening the correct way before you adhere it down. Leave a little bit of white of the card base showing. Remember, you don't have to do this next piece at an angle. I just really like it. Sometimes it's just, it adds just enough to it. Enough whimsy, you know. All right, So what we need to do here is we're going to put this one down first, because this one does not really make a difference where it goes. Put this one down. And then let's go ahead and do our dimensionals. My fingers are now sticky. So are y'all glad that spring is here? That means summer is right around the corner, which will be a welcome change from the cold weather. And I know in some parts, y'all are getting snow. I know where I'm from, it's snowing. I am not a person that likes to have snow all the time. I grew up in it and I don't like it these days. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and put this big stamp or this big leaf here, and then put our 4 little leaves. That could have been a catastrophe. Could have been. So what do y'all think of the projects that I've shared lately? Do you like them? Have you tried them? Have you ventured out and taken the ideas that I've shared and made your own spin on it? I would love to see those projects that y'all have done. It would help if I did not put the leaf upside down. Yes, it really would help. All right. So, oops. My fingers are all sticky now. All right. So let's take off our dimensionals. If I could, I can't get my finger to work now. Okay, I'm not sure what happened with that one. I think I messed it up. So we're going to use another one. That happens sometimes. And it does not help because my fingers are literally sticky. So trying to take the things off is not working. All right, so here we go. We want to make sure that the bottoms of our leaves are covered. There we go. And let's see, where did our stamps go? Which particular one that we did? Let's see, we put know that you are loved. And do you know what I should have done? The first thing, I should have stamped that first, but I didn't. Why? Because I was not thinking. That's okay. That is okay. Now I just need to find our Pool Party ink. It's probably going to go into our designer series paper a little bit. Forgive me if I'm not totally in the frame or if you see my head. I'm trying to line it up literally as close to the edge of the paper as I can. Can you believe that? That is a crafty miracle right there. I got it on the paper and I did not get it on the designer series paper. Amazing. Whoo-hoo. That makes me really happy. Really, really happy. And then, of course, what do we need to do? We need to bring out our Wink Estella. Add a little bit of bling, a little bit of wink there. And you know, you can always go back and add more Wink Estella. All right. Oh, we need to do our other bling. And this one, I think we used the silver. Oops. I grabbed it and then I didn't have it. All right. So there you have it, card number 2 with the Canadian sunflowers. Pretty, huh? Here's card number 3, almost very, very similar, but the thing that is different on this one is we're using different colors, and we are using a different colored sunflower. Now I've already put Wink Stella on this. I'm gonna say, I didn't think I wanted that stripe. I don't really like that stripe. Just for whatever reason, I really don't. Let's see, there's that. And, oh, we need to go ahead and color this in. Where are my pencils? Right over here. So let's go ahead and, oh boy, what color shall we use? Let's do some Gorgeous Grape and some Balmy Blue, I think. Let's see, Gorgeous, no, that's not a navy. Gorgeous Grape, Balmy Blue. Let's see, color over here. How about Bermuda Bay? Oh, which one is that? Let's see how these look. These are watercolor pencils, and no, I am not using watercolor paper. This is just our regular paper. Let's pull out Early Espresso. I'm going to do Early Espresso for the beginning, or excuse me, for the middle. Beginning, I don't even know why I said that. That was silly. All right, now let's go ahead, and this is the Bermuda Bay. Notice I'm not really careful with what I'm doing. And go back in, add a little bit there. And then let's go back in and add some grape, some Gorgeous Grape. And we need to have our green. What are we going to use for green? How about Granny Apple Green? No. How about Coastal Cabana? I think this is Coastal. Yep. I know it sounds like a strange color to make for our leaves. But you know, sometimes as an artist, because if you're creative, you are an artist with whatever you create, you are an artist. And yeah. So here is our blender pens. And I love this magic, y'all. Oh my word. You just take this, and I need to be a little bit more careful doing this, and I sometimes forget. And this is where I just am simply going back over the colors. And now I am trying to make sure that I get the white spaces covered up. And then when I'm done with that color, just go like that. And then let's do our leaves. And I did get outside of the line a little bit. See what that did to that Early Espresso? Wowzers. And you could let that dry and come back in and make it darker, but I'm good with it. I do think I'm going to use this Granny Apple Green. I forgot we needed to color this leaf. I did put a lot of crayon. Not really. I did put a lot of color on this particular leaf. Now, if I was the cap to my blender pen, there I would be. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're simply just going to put this together, but we need to, if I knew where my stamp set was, let's see, here it is. I really like that happy birthday. Sometimes it's hard to read the words backwards. So Let's go ahead and put happy birthday here. Now, let's see, what color should we use? We could use our pool party again, which is here. That would not look, I think that would actually look good. So there are multiple different ways that you can color something that you stamp. Depending on the particular stamp, some are just outlines and others are the image. But you can see this one, I used the watercolor pencils, and I did over here also. And then showed you how we did it on this. And then use the blender pen. Now, if I had the Stamp and Blend blend markers that are alcohol based, I would have used those because those are really, really nice. But I do not have them, and that is okay. I don't have to have all of it. Someday I will. But these watercolor pencils are a great option if you are starting out. So then let's go ahead and put our big one up here, our small one down here. Let's go ahead and get some Wink of Stella on this one first before we add that. And sometimes when you use the Wink of Stella, you can see that your ink is getting wet again and kind of moving around a little bit. All right, so let's go ahead and add our sunflower. Making sure to not cover up our happy birthday. Let's get that one slid underneath there before it dries. And then this one down here, and we'll put that there. This one is on dimensionals. Seem to be using a lot of dimensionals tonight. That's okay. They are fun to use. And put that at a little angle. And we're going to tuck our leaf underneath. If I can get it underneath there. All right. So here you have a birthday card. And let me see if I can find my glossy dots. I have a mess going on this desk, y'all. Just a mess. And let's see. I don't know about y'all, and I'm sure I've said this like 100 times. I struggle sometimes with overthinking, where do I put the bling? Okay. So there you go. This is an example of using our watercolor pencils and our blender pens to color in our sunflowers. Next up is this one. It's not even an open in the right way, y'all. So here's what happened on this one. I was like, oh wow, let's use the timber embossing folder. So I went ahead and I did that, and then I cut it too short. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go with it. Just gonna roll with it. So that's what it is. But on the sample that we're gonna put together, I have already cut the embossing folder. I've actually gotten it a little too big, so we kind of need to do a little bit of a trim, if you will. And let's see. Let's trim that up. Sometimes I think it's better to make it a little bit bigger and have to do a trim than to cut it what you think is the right measurements, and it ends up being a little too small. And that was a little too small, so I was like, crud. Blah. Just, it was a little on the annoying side when I was doing that. But, so here we have our, okay, this one. I took basic white paper, cardstock. I sponged probably crushed curry, a little bit of so saffron, and Daffodil Delight, all yellows. Sponged that on there and then stamped my sunflower in black memento and then die cut it. So we're going to do that up here. And then over here, we're going to do this. So, but you know what I want to do? And this is going to be a little crazy here. This is crushed curry. Again, this is a little stamping on the fly. I just want to do a little bit, just a little bit of dark to bring in a little bit of depth to this sunflower. Just a little bit. Not a lot. Okay, now my blender pen went away. All right, here we go. We're just gonna blend it out. No. Do you know what I did not do? I did not clean my thing. Oh. All right, y'all, I can't make this up. I do not intentionally try to make mistakes, but gracious, I seem to make a lot of them. Y'all can just laugh at me because, yeah, that's I am your creative comedy show. How's that one? If y'all can't laugh at me, then you should be laughing at me because I am a hot mess. Hot mess. So, how are we going to cover up that green? I don't know how we're going to cover up that green, but we sure are not going to use granny apple green. Let's see. All right, well, it was an awesome concept. Do my blender pen. It was an awesome concept to add a little bit more depth to my flower, but always make sure that you go ahead and clean your thing. Now, what I should have done is I should have done the linen thread underneath the embossed folder, but I didn't do that. So we are just going to do it this way. Because I really do like the linen thread on this one. I think it adds a nice little bit of something to it. I'm not sure what, but something. I'm going to tie a knot. And yes, this is where I struggle. I need like 5 hands, 20 fingers to hold everything in place. So then pull the bottom tight and then pull the top. All right, so not perfect, but then is anything I create and show you perfect? I don't know. All right, so let's go ahead and get this on. I have one more to show you. I don't want to keep you here all day and night. All right, so then this one, let's see, is there anywhere? I'm trying to figure out if there's any way to hide that big old granny green. Oops. I don't think there is, but maybe we can try. All right. So now we need to do our leaves. You know, I really like taking one stamp set and seeing how many different cards can be created with just the stamps in the one set. You know, because a lot of people, especially when they're starting out, and I'm still there, y'all, just don't have a lot of stamp sets. You know, you have like sometimes maybe just one or two, and that's all there is. And you know, what can you do with that? Always make sure that you have one that has sentiments, like definitely happy birthday, thank you, those kind of sentiments. Now we need to do Winka Stella. It's our girl today. We love our little Winka Stella. And I seem to be using a lot of Winka Stella lately. So on my next order, I need to make sure that I'm having a couple in my stash, because you don't ever want to run out of your basic white cardstock, your favorite colors, whatever those might be, cardstock, at least a pack of designer series paper that coordinates with your cardstock, and dimensionals and Winka Stella. All right, looks like on this one we went ahead and we did our gold. Now we need to trim up our twine just a little bit long there. And there you have card number. I have really no idea what card number we're on, but it's not awful with the white showing. It's not awful, okay? But I think it looks much more put together with the embossing folder going all the way across. Now, I just think there's too much going on here. I would not put a sentiment on the front. I would do it on the inside. Really wish I had not had that wonderful thought to use the watercolor pencils on this, because I think I ruined it. But you know what? I'm not going to tear it off. I'm still going to use it. Just next time, I won't do that. Okay, last card up. Now, this is how it started in my mind. I went, oh, I have that beehive, that hive embossing folder. What if I took the hive embossing folder and then sponged some yellow on it, you know, in various intensities? That looks really good. Now if I take that very detailed die where it cuts this out, and you can layer this with this for a very stunning effect. Although for whatever reason, I did not do that in any of our samples. And I was like, oh, that looks really good. So then my next idea, what if I just did it on white with the beehive? And then I went a little off the rails, y'all. I had these sitting here and I was like, well, how can I put those in there? Again, it's not awful, but in hindsight, I don't want to do those. So the card that we're going to do tonight is going to be a mix of this, but it's going to have other stuff. Oh, but what I wanted to show you, okay, this came from that. This is a piece of early espresso that was embossed probably a year ago in an embossing folder that I don't even have. And I really did not like how it looked when it was just embossed as a plain piece of paper. Here's a bigger piece to show you. I can't even remember the name of the embossing folder. I just didn't really like it. I like the painted texture one better. But I'm like, well, how am I going to use this? Well, that's how I used it. So if you have scraps of paper that you're like, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking, do embossing. And then I took crushed curry. I sponged it on my white to make this, and I die cut that out. So we're going to have our little insert. This is the debossed side of the hive, and here is the embossed side. So we're going to have it go on like this, and then we're just going to do that. But my card girl Amy gave me a wonderful idea. She's like, why don't you use this ribbon? And just let you know the ribbon, it is natural finish ribbon. Why don't you go ahead and do the ribbon? Let's see, where do I want this? Right there. Okay, so I think we're gonna need to find this. All right. You want it tight, but you don't want it so tight that you're bending your cardstock. Now, do you think we should do it up? No, I don't. I answered that. Sorry, couldn't wait for your answer. I just had to answer it. Because you know what? I didn't do that in the example. And sometimes, as we have seen tonight, my great ideas are not so great. Just saying. Make sure the card is opening the correct way. Get it lined up. And oh, Lord have mercy. Yes, this is hanging over, and I'm going to be okay with that because I can't cut it off now. Nope. So, that is how it is going to be. Now, you could use an adhesive sheet on this, and I debated on all the ones that I had done about using an adhesive sheet, and I never did. But it's not too awful bad. You just have to be very strategic and careful where you put your little bitty dots of glue. And I do mean little bitty dots. And notice I am not doing every single one. And that's okay. And that is probably more than I need. All right, so here, we're gonna put it down. All right. And again, this one, I'm not going to worry about doing a sentiment on the front. Sometimes I think you need to, I know this is going to sound weird to some of y'all, but I think you just need to listen to what the card says to do and do it. So, and I'm also not going to worry about not having a whole lot of glue over there. That's good. My hands are so sticky right now, y'all. Give me a minute. All right. So, we have used the Celebrating Sunflower stamp set and dies. Try to get a clean area. This is the card that we just made. You could do a sentiment here. I'm just not. Because, yeah, I just don't think it needs it. And then we have this one. And we have that one. and this one, and then this one. So we did a lot with our sunflowers here. Some of them are similar. And let me show you the stamp set again. You get all those stamps, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful set. If I can pick up the dies. The dies that I did not use were these. I used everything else, but I did not use those. I don't even know why. But this is the stamp set. Celebrate Sunflowers. It has really good sentiments, I think, in it. And the leaves are really, really pretty. So here are the cards. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I truly do hope that you laugh at me, because Lord knows I laugh at myself, because I figure if you can't laugh at yourself, what's the point? So thank you for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, because you know I'm going to be back to share more creative oops and flops. And oh, hey, that looks really good with y'all. So I appreciate it. Leave me a comment, y'all. Bye.